you doing, Jersey? Welcome to the Star Ledger Newsroom, Wednesday, August 20th. Those of us who played high school sports here in New Jersey probably spent a lot of long bus rides wondering why we had to play schools and teams that were so far away from our school. Well, to try to solve that problem and to try to solve a bunch of other problems, including competitive parity issues, the body that oversees high school sports in New Jersey yesterday announced a new big realignment plan. This is going to really alter the landscape of New Jersey high school sports. There's going to be 6 conferences in Central and North Jersey, and this is going to affect 200 schools. Now, for a complete rundown and all the details on this, we have including how the plan would affect each school and who your school would play under the new plan. Log on to our news blog, our sports blog, at NJ.com/sports. All right, as reporters, we often get tips and story ideas called into us that don't exactly pan out in the end. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago, a 44-pound cat landed at a South Jersey animal shelter? This cat was 2 pounds shy of the world record. It went everywhere. It was a big media frenzy. The cat was on Regis and everything. Well, we got a call a few days later about a guy claiming to have a 78-pound cat. Admittedly, it was a slow news week, but a 78-pound cat? We had to check it out.
You're looking at one big cat. So big, his name is Big Boy, and his owner, Willie Lee Jordan, wants to challenge Powder, the 44-pound cat that recently turned up at a South Jersey shelter, to a showdown.
He had to be bigger than the one you had in the paper, the 44, you know.
Thomas is going to pick him up.
I brought over my own bathroom scale for an official weigh-in.
I'm going to drop. Come on. Come on, sit down. Okay.
Well, that's not working. Let's try weighing Mr. Jordan by himself.
122.
And once more while he's holding Big Boy.
155.
To recap, Mr. Jordan holding Big Boy weighed 155. On his own, he weighed 122. Big Boy's official weigh-in is 33 pounds. Big Boy would have to hit those friskies mighty hard to catch up to Powder. So what if it turns out that he's more of a welterweight than a heavyweight? The Jordans still think he's a knockout.
All right, it's time to unveil a new feature here at Ledger Live in which you, the readers and viewers, become the assignment editor. We will take your story ideas, questions, and comments, and we will run with it, report it out, and try to get to the bottom of it. Our first submission this week comes from Jeffrey Arnold from Mountainside, New Jersey.
The Pew Institute estimates there's between 500 and 800,000 illegals living in New Jersey. They have absolutely no problem finding low-income housing. We're told we need to build almost 200,000 housing units, low-income housing units. Why then don't we just get rid of the illegals and use that housing for the low-income people? It won't cost the taxpayers anything.
That's a great question, Jeff. It sounds like a perfectly logical solution to our state's affordable housing problems. The thing is, like anything else to do with immigration, the reality gets a lot more complex. Really, we're dealing with a total mess of a situation here. Let's take your first assumption, that illegal immigrants have no trouble finding affordable housing. Actually, finding a place that they can afford on their low incomes is probably the single biggest problem facing illegal immigrants in the state, and it's causing problems for the rest of us as well. First off, they're not eligible for subsidized housing from the government. There's also some interesting census data that shows us that Mexicans and Ecuadorians, groups like that, groups most likely to be here illegally, pay the highest percentage of their incomes for housing. To pay for it, what do? Well, a lot of illegal immigrants have kind of devised their own affordable housing plan. It's called stacking. That's when people rent apartments and divide them up and cram more and more people into them, living in basements, attics, closets, in order to be able to pay the rent. It's probably the single biggest complaint in communities with large numbers of illegal immigrants living. Parts of New Brunswick, 42% of Mexican households have 7 or more people. Here in Red Bank, in this neighborhood, 30% of Mexican households have 7 or more people.
I live in a house with 2 rooms and I pay $1,500. We live there, 6, 7 people in 2 rooms. So we are squeezed in. But we do it like this because it's the only way we can cover the rent.
para pagar una renta.
Sí, con otras personas.
It's 2 rooms where I
Son
live.
2 cuartos, el apartamento son de 2 cuartos y ahí vivimos.
In the other room,
En el
3
otro
people
cuarto
live,
viven
and in my
3
room,
personas,
3 people
y en el
also.
cuarto donde vivo yo, 3 personas también.
So we're 6 people in the
Vivimos 6
apartment, and we
en el
pay
apartamento
$1,200.
y pagamos 1,200 por los 2 cuartos.
So even if we manage to deport all of the illegal immigrants or somehow make life so tough for them that they go home themselves, the rents in those apartments would still probably be too high for poor U.S. citizens to afford. They'd have to cram in the same way illegal immigrants are doing now. But maybe, Jeff, and here's where your theory might work. Maybe if 500,000 people suddenly disappeared from the state, there would be so much less demand on housing that the rents would have to come down. And maybe then it would be more affordable for poor U.S. citizens. The thing is, the landlords who own those apartments might also just foreclose on them, leaving a lot more boarded up, empty houses around. All right, listen, we want your story ideas for You're the Boss. Fire up the webcams, shoot us an email, send it in. You can reach us at ledgerlive@starledger.com. And as usual, you can always log on to our news blogs and comment at NJ.com as well. All right, Jersey, take it easy.